Welcome to episode 24. We are close to our 25th episode next week. We've got some special things planned for that episode, but we are lucky to be here. Never thought we'd be here. Again, we're in pandemic world still. I don't know about you all, but it has not been easy being in pandemic world here in New York City. The gyms are just now opening up, but some of them are only half open, so it's still even difficult to get out and get exercise. Nobody's going out to do the social things we used to, so this for me has been my lifeline. Uh, and I'm thankful that we're doing this, but I'm even more thankful that it's worked. Uh, every week it's gotten better, and every week I've gotten more and more comfortable on this camera. But there are times where it's been really nerve wracking before the show started that I was like, I don't know if this is going to work. And that's the feeling that I'm here for every week. And so, Rob, also another one of our members who's been here from the beginning, said something last week about, you know, what it is that kind of gets people to come. And he mentioned the fact that talking about the common fear of speaking in front of a live audience is a thing that I think we all understand. So I thought it'd be kind of good to go back to basics again and talk about this fear. We make jokes about it all the time. We talk about how we'd rather die than talk to a strange audience. Um, and I've been thinking about and researching and studying and trying to understand why it is that we fear this fear. And the physical fears are easy. If I don't like snakes, if you put a snake in front of me, I'm terrified. But it's a physical fear. I understand if I get bitten, I could get hurt. But why psychologically are we terrified of speaking in front of an audience? And so that's the question that has intrigued me and I have been thinking about for a very long time. And there's only one answer that comes to mind. And the answer is that we're afraid of the truth. We are afraid of being told the things that we all see in ourselves by people who don't know us that are going to validate our insecurities. That's why it's so difficult to look in the mirror sometimes. And so for me, this is an exercise every week of being able to look at myself and saying, I like what I see. It looks good. And in fact, the more I feel that way, the easier it becomes for me to get on camera. And so for me, that's why I'm here, is the ability to get over the deepest insecurities I have about myself and look in the mirror. And it works for me. And I want you all to hopefully feel the same thing that I feel every week and come back and work through the insecurities that we all have. I always point to Sean as my hero for that. Somebody that's got a stutter that has the deepest insecurity of all in speaking in front of an audience, and he's here every week. He's the one that inspires me to come every week. So I hope that that's why we're here, to inspire each other to come back. I would like for us to be getting more people to come as well, but that's a hard thing to do. Getting up and conquering this fear, confronting this fear is not easy. So we need to hold people's hands. We need to get folks to come despite the fact they really don't want to. It's like coming to the dentist. Nobody really wants to do it, but once you go, you realize, okay, I'm glad I did. That was the right thing to do. So we got to start pulling people into this dental office, so to speak. All right. So I just wanted to start that out by talking about, again, why we're here. This is something that we all understand is common to us all. So let's use that to get folks to come and help us break through. All right. With that said, let's get into the show itself and into some of the curriculum, as I said, for tonight. We've got two speakers tonight. First, we have Linda, and then she's going to be evaluated by Jeneil, and then we have Asantie, who's doing her icebreaker and being evaluated by Cailley. You'll also see tonight that we've got the agenda and we've got our on deck screen as well. So if you're on deck and speaking, be prepared with your cameras and your microphones to be called on. So just want to give you that heads up on the addition there. With that said, let us get us into our first speaker of the evening. Linda is going to give her speech, is her second speech. I know that she's been looking forward to this, so let's get Linda on the screen. Linda, are you there?
I'm here. Thank you.
Good to see you, Linda. Welcome back. This is your second speech. You did your icebreaker before. Loved your icebreaker. It was really genuine and authentic. And now we're into speech number 2, which is organize your speech. We've talked about a little bit about why speech number 2 is so important, but I do want to contrast it to our second speaker, which is an icebreaker. There's a reason why they make organize your speech right after the icebreaker. And the reason why they do that is because the icebreaker is meant to be the speech that you introduce yourself to us, which means that we have 0 expectations. No one knows who you are. You don't really know the audience. And so we all come in with an open mind and a blank canvas. Once you've given your icebreaker, though, you've set up an expectation for us. We know who you are. We know Linda. We kind of have a sense of where you're coming from. So now we all have an expectation of you as an audience, which means that you have to fulfill that expectation as best you can, which is why organize your speech is the second speech. This allows us as the audience to say, okay, Linda, I know who you are. You've broken the ice. Now tell us where you're going to take us. And so that's speech number 2. It's designed to help us as an audience know where you're going to take us going forward because you've set up some expectations for us. Now deliver on the expectations. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Without further ado, then, Linda, we'll let you take
Henry,
it. Yes.
sorry to interrupt. Could Jeneil just wanted to ask Linda, Jeneil's evaluating Linda, if she has anything in particular that she would like looked out for during your evaluation. And that's something we actually used to do in live meetings and kind of have forgotten to do, but sometimes the evaluator likes to ask the speaker before the speech if there's anything in particular, Linda, that you'd like Jeneil to look out for during your speech.
Yes, good point, Cailley. Thanks for pointing that out.
Probably. I already had the grammar person is going to do that. I'm trying to not use my hands, so that's going to be difficult for me because I use it. I'm an expressive person, so I may be a little uncomfortable at this point. So let's see how I look. That's basically.
That's a good thing to look out for sure. I struggle with the same thing. It's now we're all confined in a little camera here, so using our hands becomes a lot more difficult. So, good thing to look for. All right, thanks for pointing that out, Cailley. As I said, let's get this thing turned over to Linda and her second speech. It is quality time in quarantine. So, Linda, you've got 4 minutes on the clock. I'll let you take it away.
Thank you for this opportunity to share just a bit of information. In 2019, the data suggested that 51% of the US population was single. And once we recover from our quarantine, that number will probably get higher because of the COVID-19 divorces and separations. COVID has put a halt to our singles dating swag. It hasn't been popular to move outside of our bubble, and our bubble has been rather small or, for some of us, non existent. With 6 months of quarantining behind us, many single people, such as myself, are ready to mingle. The question is, how do we meet new friends in the age of COVID? Well, I have a few strategies that may be useful to you. First, you must think about how you want to expand your social network. 2 ways that we can do this is through to expand our social network or through our interests and online dating sites. I've expanded my network through my interests in a few ways. 1, attending virtual conferences. During a 3-day virtual conference, I met and exchanged contact information with 5 people. So in one day, Well, 3 days, I met 5 people that are now part of my network. Number two, joining Facebook groups. I've joined a few Facebook groups, and in one of those groups, I've made a connection that has gone beyond just posting in the group. The second way that we expand our network is to use online dating sites. They call them niche dating nowadays. Sites such as Match.com, eHarmony, Zeus, Elite Singles tend to be the most popular sites. However, there are tons of niche dating sites. Whatever floats your boat. The protocol I use for on dating is to spend some time just communicating via the dating site. Then I move to texting or phone calls. Next, we have some virtual face to face meetings or dates. And if we're still connected, we have a face to face with some social distancing. Here's a few virtual dating activities that I have found to be engaging and can give us insight into the person you have connected with. Emoji challenge. Well, this kind of game is where you send emojis that describe yourself back and forth. So you're kind of telling a story about who you are using emojis. Another game is called Last Letter. And in this is that you pick a category such as sports, and I would say tennis, and then the person would have to come up with another sport that begins with the last letter of tennis. Other types of activities are virtual a movie night. You can play games on Zoom like Kahoot or Pictionary. You can do sip and chats or even a virtual dinner. If you get to the actual face to face meeting, I highly recommend these restaurants that I'm about to tell you. They're all in Brooklyn, however. Brooklyn Crab Restaurant, which is a seafood restaurant in Red Hook. The Surfish is a Peruvian restaurant and it's in Sunset Park. And Le Man Restaurant is a Turkish and Mediterranean restaurant in Sheepshead Bay. I've gone there, ate from there, love the meals. I highly recommend them. So to conclude, singles, you may be alone, but you do not have to be lonely. There are ways to expand your network. Just choose which network you want to expand, then go for it. Have fun meeting people by using one of the non-risky platforms that I shared with you this evening. Use your supernatural powers and go out and win some friends. Thank you.
Linda, that was fantastic. I loved it. And in fact, as you're talking about the virtual conferences that you're going to, you're absolutely right. I hadn't even thought about that. But that's going to be the way we're going to be meeting people from now on,
Mhm.
is virtually. So another reason for us to be working on our camera ready skills. Great job, Linda. I loved it. All right. For that said, you all kind of know the drill. Let's give Linda our feedback. Uh, Sean, if you wouldn't mind giving you the links in the chat for people to give the evaluation form for Linda, and Linda, you have your self-evaluation form as well. So we've got her favorite song too. I think Luther Vandross, was it? All right, let's see if I got that right.
Oh, yeah.
welcome back, everybody. And we have our formal evaluation tonight, and that's going to be with Jeneil. Jeneil, are you there?
I'm here. Hi, Henry.
Welcome to the live stream, Jeneil. You are an old pro and an old veteran. You've been part of our club for a long time now, and Linda's in good hands. So I'm not going to say a lot. I'm going to let you go ahead and take over the evaluation because you know what you're doing. You got 3 minutes on the clock. Why don't you go ahead and take it away? And I'll put Linda back on the screen as well.
Okay. Thank you so much. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. And we don't have any esteemed guests, but good evening to all. I want to congratulate Linda on her second speech. I thought it was just terrific. I thought it was a very succinct and well-contained speech. And I thought the content was very relevant to many of us out there. Something that's actually been a little overlooked, I think, in the midst of everything going on in 2020. So I was taking very close notes on the content of the speech itself. But in terms of how Linda did for the second speech in the Competent Communicator series, Organize Your Speech, I thought she did a wonderful job throughout leading us through the topic of singles and how to date during the pandemic. She started off with a very engaging comment mentioning the fun fact about how many singles are out there going into the pandemic, and was very humorous in her comments that there would probably be even more once this is all over. And so for those who need these tips, she went on and she outlined some great dating tips, starting by expanding your network, joining Facebook, niche dating online. I didn't even realize it was called niche dating. So I definitely learned something new, which I really appreciate. She had a great use of idioms. She used quite a few of them. The one I noted was whatever floats your boat, which when it comes to dating, that's a very relevant idiom. So that was appreciated. Linda had wonderful vocal variety and articulation. That is a huge, strong suit of hers. So it was very engaging for us to listen to. And I really think Linda could go to great heights with her public speaking. I really appreciated all the virtual date ideas she gave us, movies, games, sips, and I really want that list of Brooklyn restaurants that she gave us. That was amazing. In her conclusion, it was very uplifting, and she even had a call to action, which was fantastic. I thought that Linda could have been better centered on camera, so I think that's something to work on moving forward, maybe even practice. You can turn on Zoom and just see yourself in your own Zoom room, so you could even practice doing that or with a friend. Linda, before the speech, asked me to evaluate for body language. She feels that she uses her hands too much on camera. I thought her use of body language was excellent. I didn't see any excessive hand motion. I saw her do this uplifting kind of motion at the end, and I thought that just really accentuated her call to action. So overall, wonderful job with the second speech in this series. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you, Jeneil.
Great job, Jeneil. And yeah, I agree with the whole point of being on camera now. I still am struggling with the camera and being centered and looking at it in the right way with our hands in the right place. So it's all part of the learning experience. A great job on the evaluation. And we'll get ourselves started ready for our next speaker. And with that said, we've got our question for the day. This is also in table topics as well. If you've got a karaoke song that you like, it's your go-to, put that in the chat so we can see what your musical styles are. All right, let me get ourselves reset for our next speaker, which is going to be Asantie and her icebreaker. Give me 1 second and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Our next speaker is Asantie. She is a new school student just joining us, so we're very excited to have her. And again, for those of you who aren't in New York, the New School is a really great institution. You may not know about it outside of New York City, but it's all part of the Parsons School of Design, very well known in New York City. We're very lucky to have the New School as part of our home club at the Toastmasters. I look forward to us getting back to live meetings so that you guys can come and one, first of all, meet each other, but two, also get a chance to check out New School's campus and its facilities. It's fantastic. So we're really lucky to have New School students with us. Asantie, let me get you on the screen with us. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Welcome to the New Voice Live. First of all, how did you find out about us? Let's start there.
Well, I had been to a few meetings back home in Barbados, where I'm from, and I decided to search for a Toastmasters club in New York when I arrived. And I was very happy to see that the new school where I'm at is hosting their own Toastmasters club. So I decided to give it a try. I went to two meetings in person and just recently started coming to the New Voice Live. So I'm happy to be here.
I remember you coming to our meetings, and it's always an unusual type of person that comes to our meetings, particularly students. You know, when you come to a meeting and you see a bunch of old folks like us, I think the first reaction is to say, this is not the place for me. But there are always a handful of brave students like yourself and Maya and others on our leadership team who stick around because I think they understand the importance of it. And we really appreciate you guys being brave, but also more importantly, being our student leaders. Again, if we didn't have you guys here, we wouldn't be part of the New School. So we appreciate you guys an awful lot. And now we're going to be asking you to spread the word amongst those New School students. We need more students. We need more of you guys. So thanks for coming. Help us spread the word. You know the drill. It's the icebreaker for you. You've got 4 minutes on the clock. I'll let you take it away.
Hey, hi everyone. My name is Asantie, and there are actually two of me. Don't be alarmed. I'm a twin. I'm one half of a fraternal twin. I have a sister. She was born 6 minutes before me. And whenever anyone asks, what's the most interesting thing, or give an interesting statement, that'd be my go-to statement. Other than the fact that I've seen Justin Bieber in real life and being a mega fan, but I think that I've grown out of that particular interesting fact about myself. But today is all about me, all about Asantie. And other than being a twin, three things that I would like you all to know about me: that I am Caribbean, I'm committed to service, and committed to being the best version of myself. I'm at the New Voice today as a new school student pursuing a Master of Arts in International Affairs with a minor in Impact Entrepreneurship. I wanted to do something development oriented, given my background in experience with United Nations work and youth development. And fun fact, the new school is actually the only graduate program that I applied to. I took a long time to decide what I wanted to pursue at the graduate level, and that was the only graduate program that was still open for applications. And I got in. And so I don't know about you, but I feel like that was meant to be. So I'm happy to be here. I am from Barbados, from the West Indies, and it's a long way from home, but I'm very happy to be here to pursue my higher education. I do miss the sun, the sand, and the food, of course, but being here and having this opportunity truly means a lot to me. Having and being able to meet new people is something that I've not been very good at in the past. I'm very shy by nature, but doing new experiences like this has really helped me to come out of my shell, and I'm happy to be here today. Being someone who has had the opportunity to work with other young people and to work with children as well, I'm very happy to commit my life to service to other young people and also to the environment. A major focus of my studies are climate change and climate action, being from the Caribbean and being highly affected by natural disasters is something that I really wanted to pursue in terms of my graduate studies. And so as I move forward, I haven't finalized my career plans, but I do know that I would like to do and be in a field where I can be of service to others, my Caribbean community, and other young people such as myself. Lastly, I'm committed to being the best version of myself. Uh, Joining Toastmasters was a step out of my comfort zone. I remember one of my first experiences speaking in public. I was given a presentation and I forgot my lines. And this has sat in the back of my head since I was 9 years old. And for the past over 10 years, it has really sat with me. And it's something that I know will have to get better at, given that I always need to make presentations, whether in the professional setting or the academic setting. And so joining Toastmasters is something that I think can help me to further myself, help me to be in front of persons who I may not be totally familiar with, but that I can definitely get my point across and be able to express myself and be able to let persons know more about me. It's always terrifying to speak in public, always afraid to say the wrong thing or say something silly. But I hope that in being in this Toastmasters Club and in this setting, that I will be able to get better and that I will be able to grow and learn and meet some great people along the way. Thank you.
Asantie, that was fantastic. It's hard to believe that you're a student. You speak very well, highly mature is not the right way to say it. Confident.
Oh,
I know you talked about the fact that you had a little incident on stage once where you forgot the line, and that's haunting you. I would let that go. You sound great. You sound very confident. Again, it's a person like you that's going to come through our door that says, I need to improve when they're already a great speaker. And so I'm always watching the folks who come on and do speeches and table topics. And I got to tell you, you are amongst the best of the best. Welcome aboard to the club. Glad to have you. Don't worry about your public speaking skills. They're fantastic. I'll
yes.
let the formal evaluation speak your praises better than I. In the meantime, let's get everybody to do your evaluations. If everyone would get a chance to fill out your forms. Sean, if you put the link in the chat, and I'm not quite sure what your favorite song is, but I think I've got it. So let's put 2 minutes on the clock there. No, wait, I got it. Hold on. Okay, welcome back, everyone. We have Cailley who's going to do our formal evaluation. We're still having a couple of glitches here on the time, so I can't remember who our timer is, but whoever our timer is, just take a note of that. Alex, yes, I've made a couple mistakes there on the timer, so sorry about that. But hopefully you got that fixed. And let me get Cailley on the screen for us. Cailley, are you there?
I am.
Welcome to the New Voice live stream, Madam President.
I've been here before, but thank you.
Yes, you've been here before and you know what you're doing, so I'm going to get out of the way and let you evaluate Asantee's speech. Take it away.
Thank you. Asantie, thank you so much for that speech. I have to say, I was trying to collect my thoughts during your song choice, but Beyonce sort of like blanks out my brain. So I have to say, I appreciate just being able to groove a little bit to a great song choice. First of all, thank you for that. How do you feel?
I feel pretty good. It's like that, just calm after like all the excitement. So
The
I'm
adrenaline
feeling
rush and
pretty good.
You're feeling good. Well, I really think you should feel very good because that was an excellent icebreaker. I'll echo what Henry said because I think one of the most powerful moments of your speech that we all felt was when you spoke about the fear of public speaking and that moment that you were up in front of a crowd and had that gut wrenching experience of being like, oh, I don't know what to say here. I can't remember.
Yeah.
And I will happily talk about the rest of your speech. But first, I wanted to say I don't know if you know how incredible it is to come on stage and talk about that because you admitted a fear or admitting a moment when you felt shame or weakness or embarrassment. Whenever we do that, we then allow other people to do the same thing. So someone in this crowd today is going to be able to speak to a similar experience or to a similar emotional resonance because you got up and did that today and were able to express that to us. We really do that. When we free ourselves from a certain emotional experience, we help others, give them permission to do the same. So I just want to acknowledge that because I really don't think you probably even realize what you've allowed others in this group today to do. That's a ripple effect that I think is really, really powerful and a great part of your speech today. And I'm going to continue talking to you. We often speak about the person in the third person when we do evaluations, but since we're on screen together, I wanted to speak directly to you, Asantie. Another thing I loved about your speech was your opener. You had a great line about there's two of me, and I thought that was like a really fun moment. You made a joke about Justin Bieber. I was curious about your twin and was hoping you were going to speak a little bit more about her, or are you her? Yes. So that would be another area of interest maybe for a future speech. You gave us a good idea of what you were going to talk about in your speech. This is sort of a common theme that we talk about in Toastmasters, that when you're first starting off giving speeches, it's sort of easy to frame them by telling us what you're going to tell us and then tell us that thing. So you set it up as 3 areas about yourself that you want to express to us about where you're from, about your education, about service being important to you, and about wanting to be the best version of yourself. So I thought all that was really, really great content, and it was clear that you put a lot of thought into what you wanted to express to us about yourself. What was interesting about me, I think you said at one moment, which I thought was great. I don't have a whole lot to give you in terms of feedback other than I think when we're starting out speaking, and this happens still to me, we get sort of wrapped up in what we're saying in our heads and in our bodies, we sort of forget to breathe a little bit. So I sense that a little bit with you, maybe, that just like take some breaths. That'll help you slow down too. But other than that, you made great eye contact, I thought, which was exceptional for a first speech as well. But I'm looking forward to hearing more from you, and I congratulate you on your icebreaker.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I echo that as well, Cailley. The point about being vulnerable and admitting our mistakes, I think that's absolutely on target. I think it's absolutely right. It's the part that humanizes every human interaction and speaking in front of the public, speaking in front of an audience, is the part that makes it so difficult for us to connect because we're talking to strangers. And the easiest way, I think, to disarm strangers and to get them on our side is to admit our weaknesses. And so for me, this stream every week is about all the little mistakes and all the things that I've done wrong, that the timing being wrong, the pictures being wrong. So it's painful when it happens, but it is a way that one, you get better, but two, I think it allows everybody else in the audience to feel okay about making mistakes too. So thanks for pointing that out. And Asantie, thanks for talking about it. Great job. All right, with that said, let's get back to our question of the day. Again, karaoke song. If you get a chance, pop that into the support channel. We're trying to get everybody to get in the channel so they know how to provide some interactivity for the stream. So pop that insert in there and we'll get set up for table topics. And Sean is our table topics master for the evening. If you like talking about zombies, tonight's table topic is it. So sign up on the forum. Okay, Sean is our table topics master. Sean, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Let's get you on screen if we can. Give me a second. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like we've got one slot open for somebody that still wants to speak about zombies. So if you get a chance, hop in the table topics forum. But Sean, you're an all pro and a veteran too on this, so I'll let you take it away as well.
Okay. Thank you, Henry, for that transition. Before I begin our table topics portion of the evening, I just wanted to extend a big congratulations to both Linda and Santi. You both did a great job, and it's a very hard act to follow. So, with that being said, I decided to choose our theme today of zombies because I was looking at the calendar and I saw that we are already 11 days into September, and that got me thinking about the autumn season. And I think when like some people think about autumn, they tend to think about pumpkin spice coffee. They think, they tend to think about cooler weather. But when I think of autumn, I think of Halloween and specifically zombies. So then, that was the topic I chose for this evening. So I do have 3 prompts that I'm going to cycle through the 8 people who are going to be speaking. So for the first 3 people who are signed up, I will give you each a different question. And then for speakers 4 through 7, you'll have the ability to answer any of those 3 prompts. Okay. And oh, good. And then we have an 8 speaker signed up. Awesome. All right. So if I can get Jeneil on stage, please, Henry. Hello. How are you?
Hi, Sean. I'm well. How are you?
I'm great. Okay. So I think the first question I'm going to propose to you is, imagine that you were on the set of the Walking Dead TV show.
I've run this scenario through my head many times in the past.
Perfect. And think about some of your friends, and if you have any enemies, think about those also. If you had to put together your apocalypse success team, who would you have on your team that would give you the best chance at fighting off zombies? Whenever you're ready, you can go ahead.
And we're allowed to have fictional characters as well?
Sure.
take it? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sean. So I'm really excited to answer this prompt, especially now that we are in the fall season and the weather's getting cooler and some of the nights are really creepy now. And so, in terms of The Walking Dead, who would I want on my team in the event of a zombie apocalypse? Number one, I would say my father. My dad is a huge outdoorsman, he's a huge naturalist. And he, I think this term is a little, I don't know, it's not everyone's favorite term or it has a certain meaning. He's a survivalist, not in the sense of he has a bunker or something like that, or that he's a redneck, but he really does. He was a military man for 20 years, so he really does think about how to survive daily. He watches all kinds of shows. We go out into the woods together. We forage for wild food. We're going hunting together this fall, and he's been hunting white-tailed deer for maybe 20 years, and he lives off the land already, and he's been doing so for decades now. And so my dad would be number one. Number two, trying to think, Katniss Everdeen from the Hunger Games, because she's really good on a bow and arrow and she knows how to survive anything. Number three, I would pick from The Walking Dead. I would pick Daryl because he's also really good on a bow and arrow and he's a badass. And I would pick Rick, of course, because he's the star of that show and he's amazing and he lasted all these seasons. I don't even watch it anymore, but I assume he's still there. Number five, I'd probably pick my brother, not because I think he'd be super great at some of these things, but just because I'd like to have my brother with me. Number six, I don't know if I have a number six. I would want it like an animal as well, though the animal might get eaten, but I would want a horse or some sort of escape animal. Thank you.
Neil, thank you for that answer. I think similar to yourself, I would pick my father also, just because he's a very handy person, and I think he would have a good idea of how to survive if if like things were to hit the fan. So I'm in the same boat as you are. I did actually forget to tell you before you gave your answer that the word of the day is super natural. So for the future speakers, if you're able to use the word of the day, you will get a pop-up from Homer giving you kudos. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so Henry, can I have Peter on this stage, please? Hey, Peter.
Hey, guys.
Good to see you. So, I'm actually happy that you signed up to be the second speaker because I was actually planning to give a harder question to the second speaker than I was to the first one. So the question I have for you is the idea of zombie ideas. So I think in our society, we have these ideas that are very out there, even though they've been proven false in the past, and they've been like beaten down to a pulp, and they've been disproven. But for some, reason, there are a lot of people in our country and also throughout the world who still see those ideas as facts. So the question I have for you is, what is one zombie idea that you can think of?
Thank you for that question. Just to clarify to make sure I understand it, this is an idea that might be a misconception about zombies that have some sort of been perpetuated. Is that right?
I mean, it doesn't have to deal with zombies per se. It can be, like it can be like any idea that has been proven false or is, like generally accepted as false, but there's still a large cohort of people who still view it as fact.
Okay. I am going to answer that question in the context of zombies because it reminds me of a story that I liked a lot, and that is the story of the Omega Man and reprised as I Am Legend by Will Smith in the early 2000s. And this is the concept of a change that happens to humanity that is catalyzed by a virus that to folks who don't get sick view that change as a plague, as something that transforms the current population into zombies or these very fast and again evil looking creatures that seem to be very dangerous and just want to do nothing else but pillage and consume and destroy. For those who haven't seen the movie, the end of the movie, the book, The Omega Man, and the movie I Am Legend proves something otherwise, which is that it takes the point of view that the thing that happens to us as human beings really is almost a form of evolution. It brings us in a direction where we stop being our usual selves, where we go outside during the day, but we become these sort of nocturnal creatures that create our own society. There is a hierarchy, there's a leadership, there's a community that gets developed among these zombies that to those that never got sick, like Will Smith and I Am Legend, look completely unnatural, look like something that needs to be cured. And at the end of the movie and at the end of the book, he realizes that he was wrong, that the monsters that he was fearing would come for people like him. He was that same monster, and stories about him were told in this new community of zombies and creatures that have risen. So I'll end there. I think it was a really interesting concept and one that answers your question today. Thank you.
Hey, Peter, I just wanted to say that I thought that was a great answer to a pretty hard question. So I give you big props for that because you were able to think of it on the fly. And I'm actually glad that you brought up I Am Legend because it kind of flows into the third question that I have. But I will say that for our third speaker. So again, you're thanks for your time. Okay, Henry, can I have Bhavika on stage, please? Hi. How are
Hi,
you?
Sean. How are you?
I'm good. All right. So then, as I said in the beginning, this is going to be the third and final question. And personally, I think it's the easiest. All you have to do is talk about your favorite zombie movie slash TV show and just list a one or two reasons why it's your favorite.
Okay. So this movie isn't necessarily centered around zombies, but there was one particular zombie in this movie, and I was obsessed with him. And the movie is Hocus Pocus. I think everybody remembers the dead guy that everybody was terrified of, who had really bad breath. And he looked very scary and intimidating, but in the end, he ended up being a really sweet, friendly guy that just wouldn't go away and kept on coming back into scenes for random reasons, but he was yet a very entertaining character. And while he wasn't the center of attention or the focus of the movie, he brought great personality. He was funny. It flowed into the storyline really well. And he was very entertaining overall to pay attention to as I was watching the movie. I think everybody that's seen Hocus Pocus knows that it's a classic Halloween movie. And while it isn't centered around zombies, there is some zombie action in there, along with other supernatural activities. But the zombie in there was one of my favorite characters, and I always look forward to seeing him every time I watch that movie during this time of the year.
Yeah, that's a great point. It doesn't have to be a zombie movie per se. If there was a zombie character, you could also talk about that person when you're on stage. Yeah, and just to go back to Hocus Pocus, similar to yourself, it is one of my favorite childhood films. Also, it's something that I used to watch every time I found out it was on TV, and it's of course your prototypical Halloween film. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, Alex, Henry, can I have Alex on stage, please? Hey, Alex, how are you?
I'm very well, Sean. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. So as speaker 4, you get the option of choosing any of the 3 questions that you heard before. I would be happy to repeat any of the 3, unless you have an idea of the question that you're going to answer.
Well, I'll take it about supernaturalism, because supernatural is kind of the way things are these days, I find. And especially in a city where I live in Canada, we have all kinds of supernatural events. Lake Superior itself is supernatural, and the Anishinaabe and Ojibwe people believe that everything is spirit. Everything is supernatural. But with respect to zombies, I can maybe give something. I don't know if it's zombie, it's more like poltergeist. So when I was a kid, I was living in the capital city of Ottawa, and there was a terrible disaster where people were building this bridge, and the bridge fell. I don't know what happened, but a number of men were killed. But one of the supernatural things is that I told my mother just as it was happening. I didn't even know, but I said, "Oh, the bridge is collapsing," and then boom, and then we heard all the sirens and things. So there's that. But the question about the poltergeist is that we had this old oil furnace, and shortly after that happened, the oil furnace at 6:15 every morning began to shriek, an otherworldly shriek, very supernatural. We didn't know anything at all about it. Therefore, one day, my mother, who's Irish lady, her name is Rosalie Brady, and you don't mess, if you're a spirit, never mess with the Irish, because they have it in this world, the next, and the previous, all right? So one day, it happened that this poltergeist was shrieking in the oil furnace. And my mother was there with a rubber mallet. She banged it, screaming, "Get out, get out, get out, get out, get out." And my God, after that, it was peace. And so that's the story of my zombie poltergeist.
Hey, Alex, I think you just introduced the premise to Poltergeist 4. because I think there's a Poltergeist 3 out, and I guess the only question left to answer is who is it going to be your Carol Ann. That's the only question that you have to answer. Thanks, Alex. Okay, speaker number 5, Linda. Can I have Linda on screen, please? Hey, Linda, how are you?
Hey, Sean, how are you?
Good. I hope you're still riding the high from your speech because you did a great job. So then, as I said to Alex, you can choose any of the 3 questions that you heard before, or if you have a scary, spooky story like the one Alex shared, you can share that with us also.
Well, first and foremost, I will say that anything with any kind of supernatural powers or entities, I don't like. Right. So even as a child, I call myself the scaredy cat person. So I never watched anything. I don't want to date myself, but the 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 TV show that scared me the most was called Dark Shadows and Dracula. And from then on, I did go to see Poltergeist once, and then I said never, ever again. However, the only thing I really know about zombies is I saw them in Michael Jackson's video Thriller. So I do know, like, contextually what they are, but I can't tell you anything about The Walking Dead, any kind of television program or movie. However, I quickly did some investigation, and so in our Urban Dictionary, they have a little pun that they use. Instead of calling it zombies, they call it zombies. And a zombie is a person whose brain has been deteriorated because they've been on too many video conferences. And that's something that I can definitely relate to. I can definitely, my brain is being fried to death. So I will say, even though I don't like zombies, I probably could be considered a zombie.
Uh, Linda, thank you so much for sharing that story, and I 100% agree with your assessment of the word zombie. I feel like a zombie also. I mean, I can't tell you how many calls I've been on, and it definitely feels like it eats your brain after some time. So thank you for sharing. Okay, speaker 6, Aldara. Can I have Aldara on stage, please? Hello, how are you? Oh,
Can you hear me now?
yes, I can.
Hi, Sean. Hi, everyone. How are you guys?
I'm good. Thank you for signing up, and good to see you on here again. So, so for your table topics, you can answer any of the questions that you heard before, or if you have something interesting or spooky to share with the audience, you can share that also.
Okay, so I am able to answer 2 combined questions. One of my favorite zombie movies, and I'm not a fan of zombies, but one of my favorite movies is I Am Legend. I really like that movie, really impacted me. And I thought that in this pandemic, New York felt a little bit like that. So if I were to find a fight a group of zombies like in that movie, I would definitely have an apocalypse team. So in that team, I would have Nico, which for sure is like the most encouraging person. So I would definitely have him on my team. Nico's my boyfriend, for those who don't know him. Then I would have someone with supernatural powers as Wonder Woman. I think she's awesome. I would have a Navy SEAL on my team because I definitely need to learn how to hunt and how to like know the grounds. So that would be a very important addition. Why not Indiana Jones? I think he's amazing as well, and we could use a little action and a little whip and all that in this endeavor. I would have the dragon from what's it? Never Ending Story. I love that dragon, and who doesn't need a dragon to escape some crazy zombies? Definitely have a scientist in order to try to get humanity back to its good selves. And lastly, and not least, I would have Beetlejuice on my team because we need one of their kind to join us in order to win this battle.
Aldara, it kind of sounds like you have an all-star cast that you're putting together because I heard Indiana Jones, I heard about a dragon, so I don't think any zombies would mess with your team. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, speaker 7, Rob. Can I have Rob on stage? Hey, Rob.
Hey, Sean, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for signing up. So then, as I said before, you can answer any of the previous questions, or if you had some time to think about your own spooky story, you can share that here too.
Thank you, Sean. I have to say I'm a bit like Linda, and I cannot stand scary movies at all, and I avoid them at all costs. And even bring it back to what Linda had said, the music video for Thriller, the Michael Jackson video, when I was a kid and I had saw that, like, it's like a 15-minute music video. I remember being so frightened of that. And I think I've avoided seeing anything zombie related for the majority of my adult life and kid life. So I haven't seen any of the TV shows. And earlier when I was thinking, think of Thriller, the LMFA scene is 28 days later. And was just thinking that is probably, the only zombie movie I've actually, it's a pretty good movie, even though, I'm not a fan of these scary movies. Now,
Okay, I think Rob is having some audio issues.
I'm having some supernatural issues. Sorry, guys. Thank you, Sean.
Yeah, thank you, Rob, for sharing your story. I think when I think of the Thriller music video, I think it's a great song. It's a great dance to be able to learn, and then you could go to the Halloween parade that they have in the city, and you can be part of that. But in terms of like actually being in that video, I think I would pass also. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and our final speaker for the evening is D. Can I have D on stage? Hello.
Hello, I didn't realize I was already on.
Yeah, we've been flying through
So,
it.
so why don't I choose? Well, I just now is a good time to say when we're on, if we're live and people are joining us at any time, it's really important to be like a television program and repeat so that the person who is joining doesn't have to know what was said at the beginning of the hour. So, for example, there were three things I think you said.
Hmm.
I don't know what they were because I
Okay.
missed some of them. So, could you repeat
Okay.
them?
Yeah, I would be happy to. So,
But
so
not
then,
just this time. I mean, going forward as well. Is that
gotcha.
okay?
Yeah,
Sorry. Okay.
gotcha. Yeah, so then the three questions were you can talk about your favorite zombie m- um um movie slash TV show. If you were putting together a team to combat the zombie apocalypse, who would you have on your team? It can be both friends and enemies, actual people, or also fictional. And then the final question is we tend to have a lot of zombie ideas out there where these ideas have been discredited, disproven, but they still tend to be very prevalent in our society. So then if you could think of any of those ideas, you can also talk about that here too.
Thank you very much. What I'd like to talk about is none of the three you mentioned.
Okay.
I thought the whole idea of something supernatural is a big one. So that leaves the stage wide open. I have one special one, and it's a movie, not movie, a video that was taken of a funeral in Jamaica. Now, in Jamaica, we have a word for ghost, and the word is duppy. D as in Dulce, Uppy, duppy. And they put it out on YouTube as Duppy attends funeral. So after I finish telling you about this, you can go watch it on YouTube if you want. What happened is somebody was being buried, and we were having a regular Jamaican funeral where lots of people speak and each person lauds the person who died, talks about the wonderful things. But while this funeral was going on, somebody was taping the funeral, and there was a ghost in attendance at the funeral. The ghost was a friend of the person who had died, and that ghost chose to attend this funeral. Now, this is not as if we made it up. It's not technology putting something somewhere. If you look, it was actually taped, a live tape of a funeral, and there was something passing through that was, you could see it and then you couldn't see it. And as it passed through columns and all that kind of thing, just like any old ghost. So that's one. And that's my supernatural story. I don't know how much time I have, and that's another thing I'd like to suggest. While we are talking, can we see the time on the screen? That
It
would
is
be
on
great.
it is on the screen T.
Okay, I can't. So I
Okay.
suppose something's wrong with the way I'm doing it. All right, I don't know.
Thank you, T. You know, like I didn't realize that it was possible to capture a ghost on camera. So that was a very insightful story. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so these are 8 speakers for the evening. Thank you all for participating. You all had great stories to share with the audience. So I think at this time, I'm going to put a link in the chat to vote for your favorite table topics speaker. So if you could just take a few moments and fill that out, and then we'll be back soon. Thank you.
Yes, thanks for that, Sean. Great job. And we have consolidated both the best table topics form as well as the feedback form for Sean. So if you fill out that form, you can also get a chance to give Sean his feedback. And Dee, that's the place for you as well. If you want to give Sean some feedback about his table topics role, feel free to do it there. It's all part of the learning experience for us all. Sorry about the couple of switches on the scenes there for those of you that were affected. I will tell you that it happened because I was paying attention to you guys so much that I missed the buttons. But that's clearly a sign that you guys are keeping my attention wrapped. So great job on the table topics. Okay,
Could
with that
could,
said,
could I just adjust what you just said?
yes,
What I was saying about repeating does not just apply to table topics. I mean, it
understood,
applies.
D. And if you
Okay,
wouldn't
got
mind just putting that in the evaluations,
it.
that'd be
Okay,
great.
thank you.
Okay,
Thank
thanks.
you. Thank you.
Let's move on to the our meeting wrap up. That's going to be with our grammarian and timer. Let's get them on the screen. We have Abubakar and Alex. So our timer for the evening is Alex. Let me start there. That's not Alex. Let's get Alex on the screen. Alex, want to give us our timer report, please? I think we have you on mute as well.
Greetings to all. Well, what I did was at each time there was an action, I put that time. So I don't know if that's too much, but anyway, we started talking at about 18:05, but then the live stream commenced at 18:18. So this is 6:18. Henry's comments, intro speakers, organize your speech. See, minutes. Oh yes, Linda spoke for 4 minutes and 20 seconds. Great. Jeneil gave her evaluation in about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Asantie spoke for 3 minutes and 28 seconds. Great job, Asantie, by the way. Very eloquent and dynamic. See, Cailley's evaluation was 3 minutes and 35 seconds. Sean introduced table topics, and Jeneil spoke for 2 minutes and 33 seconds. Piotr spoke for 1 minute and 51 seconds. Bhavika spoke for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I spoke for about 3 minutes. Linda spoke for 1 minute and 45 seconds. Aldara Ortega spoke for 2 minutes and 3 seconds. Rob Price spoke for 1 minute and 49, but unfortunately he got preempted by the internet duppies, and Dee spoke for 1 minute and 32 seconds, and we terminated all of this at 19:30 on the dot. Back to you.
Great job, Alex. Appreciate that. And for our grammarian report, we've got Abubakar. Abubakar, welcome. Want to give us our report for our grammarian?
Yes, good evening, Henry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Okay, good. So tonight I'm the grammarian, and I'm responsible for listing the names of for the numbers of the so likes and word of the day. So speaker number 1, Linda, you had 2 ums, 2 souls, no you knows, 1 like, and you have the word of the day. Jeneil, you have more than 5 souls, no ums, no you know, no likes, and no word of the day. Asantie, you had 3 ums, 4 souls, 0 you know, 1 like. Cailley, you had 3 ums, 5 souls, 1 you know, and 1 you like. For table topics, Jeneil, you had 0 2 souls, 0 0 like. Peter, you had 3 1 soul, 1 no, and 1 like. Bhavika, you had 3 0 souls, 0 0 like. You have the word of the day. Alex, you had 0 2 souls, 0 1like, and you have the word of the day. Linda, you have 4 2 souls, 2 1like, and you also have the word of the day. Aldara, you have 0 1 soul, 0 1like, and you also have the word of the day. Rob, you have 1 soul, 0 1like, and the word of the day. D, you had 0 soul, 0 1like, and the word of the day. Henry, that's my Grammarian report. Thank you.
Thank you on that, Abubakar. And that's going to wrap up our 24th episode of New Voice Live. Thanks for you all for coming. And I got to tell you, tonight was actually a little different for me. I was able to finally listen more than actually worry about all the behind the scenes actions. Clearly, that made some mistakes for me where I was hitting the wrong buttons. But as I was listening, I have to tell you, it was really entertaining. I was giggling and laughing. The, the skill level is really at a place where we're really close to being perfect, tight, all the things we'd want to be for YouTube. Clearly, we have some mistakes. Clearly, there's some things that we could have done better. But overall, I have to say that if we can maintain this level, I think we definitely have an audience that's going to want to watch and come. So for me, it was a great show. I really enjoyed all the table topics and the speeches. It was something that as I kind of objectively sat back and listened to and thought, is this something I would want to watch even if I didn't know these people? I think the answer is 100% yes. So great job on the show. I'm encouraging you all to keep coming back and get better, although my point is that I can see us all getting better. So congrats to you all. My final word again is let's now spread the word. The product is in its final form. You know what it is. It looks pretty good. So let's get more people to watch it. With that said, we'll end the show tonight. If there's anybody that's got any questions about membership that hasn't been around for a while, feel free to stick around for after hours. We are doing some things, as I said, in the next couple of weeks to get some media to you all to spread the word and share. We're also going to do an open house for you guys to invite your friends. So keep an eye out for the emails from Cailley as well as the support channel. That's where we're keeping in touch with you all week to week. That's why we're kind of encouraging you / forcing you to put these gifts in the support channel so that that's our way that we can keep you informed between meetings. So with that said,
Hey Henry, can I
yes,
make one more comment? Sorry.
Of course, Cailley.
I'm going to stick around afterwards and help Asantie get into the live support channel. So if anyone else wants me to do that tutorial with them, I'm happy to. That's where you're seeing the gift stream on the side of the screen. If anyone wants a reminder of how to get into that spot or wants me to teach them anything about that, I'd be happy to. We'd love to get that working a little bit more and scrolling a little bit more. And then next week is our 25th anniversary, I guess we'll say. So we'll do something special there. I am out for a couple weeks because I have some work obligations, so I will keep up with you guys on the live support chat and on the live stream. So stick around for after hours, and we'll see y'all later.
Yes, thanks for that. And also, by the way, that reminds us, so we have the roles and we have the speaker slots available. Feel free to sign up. The more advanced we get them filled up, the easier it is on us on the back end. And particularly since Cailley is not going to be here over the next couple of weeks, getting advanced signups also helps a lot too. So take a moment, take on a role, do a speech. One, you're going to love it. And two, it helps the rest of us out. So great job. We'll see you all for episode 25 next week. Stick around for after hours and join us for some drinks there. See you next time.